Human errors that changed the course of history. This alcohol-fueled incident is considered one of the worst accidental friendly fire shootings in history. In September 1788, during the Austro-Turkish War, the Austrian army was involved in the Battle of Karansib. Austrian soldiers were camped near the town of Karansib, in present-day Romania. A scouting force of around 100,000 soldiers was sent to search for the Ottoman enemy. Some of the soldiers crossed a river, but found no Ottomans. Instead, they encountered a group of Romani people who offered them alcohol. Later, more Austrian soldiers crossed the river and asked for alcohol, but the first group, already drunk, refused and set up a defensive barrier around it. An argument broke out, and someone fired a shot, triggering a fight between the two Austrian groups. Chaos quickly spread. In the confusion, someone shouted the word Turks from the Romanian language, causing panic among the soldiers. Many of the troops came from different ethnic backgrounds and could not understand one another. They began running in all directions. Officers tried to stop them by shouting "Halt" in German, but some soldiers thought they were hearing Allah, Allah, and believed the Ottomans were attacking. As the terrified soldiers fled back to their camp, General Colloredo assumed it was a real enemy attack and ordered the artillery to fire, killing and wounding many of his own men. 2 days later, the real Ottoman army arrived and found dead and wounded soldiers, then captured the town of Karansib without a fight. The exact number of Austrian casualties is unknown. Some reports say about 150 were killed, while others claim over 1,000 were wounded. The Kosa Prophecy, 1856. In 1856, a Kosa girl named Nanka Wuz claimed she had received a message from the spirits of her ancestors. She said the Kosa people must slaughter all their cattle and destroy their crops. At the time, many cattle were already dying from a disease known as lung sickness. The spirits promised that if the people obeyed, the dead would rise, healthy cattle would appear, crops would grow again, and European colonizers would be driven away. Nanka Wuz's uncle, Mamokaza, a spiritual leader and former Christian, believed her and passed the message to Chief Sirhili, who ordered the people to comply. Over the next year, the Kosa killed about 400,000 cattle and stopped planting food. The miracle never came. By early 1858, the prophecy had failed, and around 40,000 people died of starvation. Many others were forced to go to the British-controlled Cape Colony in search of food and work. British Governor George Grey exploited the disaster to seize more Kosa land, forcing many people into hard labor and allowing settlers to farm the confiscated land. This tragedy marked the end of major Kosa resistance and helped Britain gain greater control of the region. The Radcliffe Partition of India, 1947 and 1947. The British decided to end their rule in India and divide the land into two new states, India and Pakistan. A British lawyer named Sir Cyril Radcliffe was tasked with drawing the new borders, later known as the Radcliffe Line. The goal was to separate Muslim-majority areas to join Pakistan from Hindu and Sikh-majority areas to remain in India. The Muslim League supported the plan, while the Indian National Congress wanted a united India. When negotiations failed and violence spread, many leaders believed partition was the only way to avoid full-scale civil war. The last British governor, Lord Mountbatten, moved the independence date to August 1947, leaving very little time to organize the complex division. Radcliffe had never visited India and was given only a few weeks to draw borders using maps and population data. The final borders were announced on August 17, 1947, 2 days after independence. So millions of people did not know which country they were in when independence was declared. The borders cut through homes, villages, and farms, creating fear and confusion. This led to one of the largest and bloodiest migrations in human history. Between 12 and 30 million people were displaced. Muslims moved toward Pakistan, while Hindus and Sikhs fled to India. The journey was extremely dangerous, with widespread violence on both sides. Between several 100,000 and 2 million people were killed, and there were horrific accounts of massacres, executions, and the abduction of tens of thousands of women. Trofim Lysenko was a Soviet agricultural scientist who gained great influence under Joseph Stalin. He rejected genetics based on Gregor Mendel's work and the idea that traits are passed through genes. Instead, Lysenko believed that traits acquired during an organism's lifetime could be inherited. For example, he claimed that exposing wheat seeds to cold would make future plants more resistant to cold. He also argued that plants of the same species would cooperate rather than compete for resources. There was no scientific evidence for these ideas, but they promised quick results during a time of food shortages. Stalin and the Communist Party strongly supported Lysenko. In 1940, he became director of the Institute of Genetics in the Soviet Union, giving him control over biological research. He used his power to suppress real genetics, persecute opposing scientists, and send many to prison, some of whom died, including the famous botanist Nikolai Vol. Making Lysenko's ideas official policy had disastrous consequences. Farmers were forced to use his unproven methods, such as planting crops very close together. These practices failed, causing crop disasters and contributing to famines that killed millions in the Soviet Union. His influence also spread to China, where his ideas helped cause the Great Chinese Famine of 1958, which also killed millions. After Stalin's death, Lysenko lost power. Scientists such as Andrei Sakharov publicly criticized him as a fraud who damaged Soviet science. Lysenko was finally removed from his position in 1965, but by then, his actions had already contributed to the deaths of millions. Training of the Mamluk slaves. The Mamluks were originally non-Arab slaves, brought into the Islamic world from the 9th century onward, and trained as elite soldiers. Over time, they became more than just loyal warriors. They formed a powerful and independent military class, especially in Egypt. In 1250, they seized power and ruled Egypt and Syria as the Mamluk Sultanate, which lasted until 1517. During this period, they defeated the Crusaders and drove them out of the region, and they also won major battles against the Mongols. Even after the Ottoman Empire conquered Egypt in 1517, the Ottomans kept the Mamluks as local rulers and military leaders. They remained influential and held positions of power until 1811.